Hello, welcome back. Man, I can't believe it. I'm back on. Whew. I mean, it's so weird. Oh, God, this camera angle. Oh, not doing my skin the prettiest thing. Okay, we'll see. Oh, that's better. Yeah, I like that. So, I'll wait for some people to get in. Probably not. God damn it. Sorry, I just had to get my watch on. Okay. So, let's start with the main thing. I'm back on YouTube Live, which is a little strange, really. I mean, the last time, I thought that I was going to do this kind of every month: January, February, March, April, May, and I was doing that in December, January of 2020 and 2021, but it stopped, and we'll get into that. So at that point, let me look up some. Okay. Get into what happened between January 15th, the last time I went on YouTube Live, and today, May 30th, 2023. Okay. The day after I went on live, the global death toll of COVID-19 surpassed 2 million. That's quite tragic. It was. And of course, the big January 20th, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were inaugurated as president and vice president, respectively. Crazy. Just COVID just kept on growing in January. And speaking of my life during January 2021, excuse me, it was pretty good. I mean, that was probably that last good month before things really started to take a nosedive. Whew. And I have fond memories. That was the last month that we ever did hybrid. The following month in February, we went back to full in person. It didn't seem like it'd be that way, but it eventually got that way. The Chiefs did beat the Browns. Actually, Mahomes went out with a concussion in that game. I remember that. I'm just using my memory off this point. And that was a stressful game, but it was a good game. There was a controversial call, I think, but yeah, it's whatever. And then the next week, the Chiefs met the Bills in the AFC Championship game that year, and they just, I mean, the Bills put up a bit of a fight, but really, the Chiefs were a better team, and it really showed. They won. Ooh, it was by a lot. I mean, not a lot, but like 12 points. And the Chiefs went to their first back-to-back Super Bowl appearance in franchise history. We'll get into February. February was not a good month for me. February 2021. It was. I saw some people I didn't really want to see. And going out to full in person was tough. I really enjoy the hybrid because the hybrid learning model. It provided me just less stress, relaxation, I got to go to school, see my friends, ask questions. So I was still learning, but it wasn't like full in person. And keep in mind, we hadn't done that in 3 months at that point. And so the adjustment was hard for me. I remember that, as well as school got harder, and my mental health started to drag down. I started to have some ruffles with some friends. I lost a few friends. I had a terrible regional audition. I mean, it was so bad. But, you know, again, I was only a little itty bitty thing freshman year. I mean, crazy to think how much I've grown since then. Uh, and the Chiefs, I mean, they got absolutely destroyed in Super Bowl 55. I mean, bad officiating, but I mean, the offensive line was just awful. Receivers weren't catching. Mahomes was doing all sorts of things to try to keep the Chiefs in that game, but it was just awful. I mean, one of the worst, most heartbreaking in a weird way. I mean, it's a Super Bowl. And it's not like, oh, we almost had them. We didn't even have them for 95% of the game. Mahomes had that electric pass. After the Super Bowl, there was this huge, I totally forgot about this, winter storm. And it froze over like all of Texas, and they were not prepared. They had um, done some shitty things. They were not prepared at all. And because they wanted to be so Texas, they had their own power grid that was, I believe it wasn't owned by the government. It was like profited off and or something like that. I don't remember distinctly, but people died, businesses lost, economy was not good because of that. And towards the end, more and more people started to get the vaccine in March or February and March. March is when my grandparents got the vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine. And that's because of the vaccine and immunity started to build up. COVID restrictions started to basically go away. Um, Basically, I think I stopped. I stopped wearing my mask in June of 2021. Back then, I was very political. I mean, not that I'm not anymore, but I was very, I would say, radical, and I just was very leftist. And I would have supported wearing a mask and doing vaccines and all that, but I was very adamant on wearing my mask when I had to, outside in school. Um, hmm. Sorry, I'm just reading. Just reading. By April, so we'll get in my okay. We'll get back in my life in March. By the end of February of 2021, I had spiraled deep into a depressive state. I was unmotivated. I was sad, and I felt lonely. Um, Felt like I had no purpose, and it just didn't have any motivation. And that was a really hard era I had to go through. February and March. My grades started to slip, and honestly, sometimes I wish I fought a little further because freshman year probably was the easiest. Yeah. But we got into March, and spring break came around, and that was a perfect time. It was enough time for me to recover and meet some people and just grieve, I guess. I don't know. I helped my aunt and uncle buy a car, Ford Explorer. I had to keep them in the Ford fam. Uh, Other than that, there wasn't really anything eventful in March. I was just starting to, I guess, Easter. It was good. My first Easter egg hunt, in like such a long time or something. I don't know where we did that, but we did. With Cameron, we went to the Welshes. I started listening to some new music, and I was starting to get better out of that slump. But it's not what I was in December, January, and that was hard because at that December, January was like, and November was like the happiest I'd been probably at that time living in Arizona. Yeah. Oh God, I'm getting a little emotional. So this Saturday. Oh, sorry. Behind friends. Ew, why? Ew, what the fuck? Anyways, uh, what's after that? Oh yeah, April. April wasn't really memorable. I guess I was doing. Let me. I'm gonna open up my Snapchat to like get some. Ooh. Okay, scroll down. Ugh. Oh my god! Like, I had this one moment like in February where I was like, I was totally mental. Oh my god. Uh, I had my WandaVision phase. Oh my god. I went hiking. I thought it was so cute and adorable and so mature. Oh my god. And I started dailies. Oh my god. So the girls I used to hang out with, every day I wanted to take a picture for memory. So I started taking these daily pictures and they evolved into dailies and walking around and taking a picture before we split off to go to our other classes. And that worked out well. Um, okay. I had some good pottery projects. Oh my CCs. Oh my god. Um, so it was pretty bad. And then Kai's family invited me to go on one of their family vacations from Missouri, a road trip to Yellowstone and Wyoming. And I really wanted to go so bad. But my parents said no, which made sense. They barely knew her family, and I would have to buy a plane ticket there and back. It just really didn't. I was pissed, but I understood. But it was a little heartbreaking. Oh my god. Oof. By end of February, I was real depressed. Oof. But in March, I started just going back in my past at that point and just looking back at stuff. My Grace phase, I was still in that, but I was still. Oh my god! And I had this shitty teacher. Her name was Miss Shores. She gave me a 30 out of 100 on this one thing, which is like, she gave me a 30 out of 100. I did not deserve a 30 out of 100. Like, you could have failed me and given me a 50 or a 60, but like, I was 14. Like, some little freshman thing. Um, She was a terrible teacher. I mean, and she treats the current teachers at Highland so bad. And it's like she's just annoying. My fucking god. Um, yeah. Anyways, nothing interesting. Nothing interesting. And in March, speaking of that, we were invited, the Highland Marching Band, to perform in March in the 2021 Pearl Harbor Memorial Parade commemorating the 80th anniversary of the Pearl Harbor attacks in Honolulu, Hawaii. Whew, that was really special. We'll get into that trip later, but it was goddamn exciting. I felt bad for all those seniors. They had a shitty senior year, and we're going on this fun trip next year. As someone who's going into that, like, first of all, it's crazy. I'm gonna be going into my senior year. Like, the fuck? Oh god, I don't really like this lighting. There we go. Oh, this is too dark. Is it? I'll try that for now. Ooh. Okay. God damn it. I kind of look good. God damn. I mean, the camera's not doing me like solid justice. I promise I'll look better in person. But hey. Anyways, back to my life. After that, I had my first concert, my real first concert, in early March. And then in April, Prince Philip died. Nothing real interesting. Isabel had her first birthday party in Arizona. She turned 4 years old at that time. And I snuck out of school. First time I snuck out of school to go get lunch with my then friend Casey. Ooh, yeah, we're not friends anymore. Oops. Then I started making a bunch of videos online on TikTok and shit. Then, oh my god, I totally forgot about that. My dad had this like real bad he got something injured, something in his knee. He jumped up, and when he landed on it, it really hurt, and he had to get surgery and shit. It was not good. And that following day, they had this like protest because at the time, and in our school, there was like this huge, basically cross big hallways that you couldn't enter because they were trying to stop COVID-19 and exposure and all that. So, we couldn't go through there, which was fine. I mean, like, but no, they had a mass protest, and like, it was so dumb. It doesn't even make sense, but it was dumb. It was so freaking dumb. Ulrich, my math teacher, had his birthday. The Welshes got Sophie, their dog. Oh, she's not that cute anymore. She's cute, but yeah, I'm not that. I like dogs. I think it can be a little much sometimes. Nothing real interesting in my life that's like popping up in May 2020. In March, April, May, I guess I started reconnecting with my old friend Isabella Savalas. We were friends in elementary school and junior high, but their group ousted me. And so at that point, we didn't talk for the rest of 7th grade. And then 8th grade, we had class together, and we were acquaintances. We talked every now and then, but we weren't like super best friends. And we had that relationship through freshman year. I remember her first day, she came by and I was like, "Oh, this is your class. I have the same English teacher who got fired." Oh my god, my friends now give me shit because I swear, like, I bring that story up all damn time. Uh, um, and so eventually she moved into my neighborhood like March or April, and we started riding the bus and started to get to know each other. And by May, we had become pretty good friends. Which would go in the summer, we'd hang out in the summer, text. I mean, she was a pretty good friend of mine by the end of summer 2021. God, talking about my life, this is exhausting. Um, okay. Um, and eventually, in May, I got to head back to Missouri. First time that almost 2 years at that point. For my cousin Shane's graduation. So it was me, my mom, and my sister drove out from Columbia to come see us. And it was really nice. It was a really nice trip. I got to see some old cousins, and that trip was so crazy for me because it was like the first time that I'd seen a lot of these people post pandemic, and also like living in Arizona. I hadn't seen a lot of these people, and like, holy shit, like, you're grown up, I'm grown up. Like, now one of the older cousins. It was really like fucking freaky. I'm like, holy shit. And now I look at myself as a baby from then, and I'm probably gonna be looking back at that now. I hope I'm coming up. And then come back, I get really sick. Oh my god, it was so awful. And I thought I had COVID. I didn't. But because of that and the policies, I had to stay home to wait for my results. And I didn't. Woohoo. But what was it? I can't remember. Oh yeah. So I had to take either my finals at home, but luckily I was good enough to go for at least one day and take my last final. I cheated on my Spanish final, stayed at home, and then my mom drove me to take my ceramics final. And that was the last class of the period, so it made total sense. And then I remember. Getting out, we went, school ended, woo, and summer, it was so nice. And that was a fun time in my life. May, because I was starting to go back in my past again. I was doing that. I had these weird flashes during class, like, oh my god, my childhood. It was weird. It was freaky. I keep saying freaky. It just was. And December 2021, it was a little boring, but it was fun because it was so chill. The vibes were immaculate. I got to spend time with friends and focus on me and reflect and all that, and find old pictures and work on scrapbooks and all that. And so that was fun. And then June, I got my COVID vaccine and I stopped wearing my mask. I really didn't wear my mask until I went on planes, because at that point, the Biden admin was like, you had to require like shit on planes and crap. Oh, and in the 2021 draft at the NFL, going back to April, they drafted Mizzou linebacker Nick Bolton. and he would become part of a Super Bowl championship. Nothing interesting happened in May. Oh yeah, Israel and Palestine, like they were like fighting a lot in May. I remember that. And nothing really happened much in May. But yeah, COVID-19 vaccine started to roll out a lot, like throughout 2021, but especially the summer. And restrictions started to be lifted, like literally everywhere. It was the right decision, especially here in Arizona. And it was great. It was a great summer 2020 because it was like things were like finally starting to like return to normal, or it was the start. It wasn't really until like end of 2021 that things really started to become normal. But it was also weird because it's like normal to me was like before high school, you know. But now I was in high school, and now there's like high school and the pandemic went hand in hand together because that's all I knew. I mean, obviously, my sister being 5 years older than me, I kind of lived through her a little bit, but not really. Uh, and the summer was so much fun. You had like the backyardigans trend and like swimming, and I got tan during the summer. And started to grow and meet people who I love today. I went back to Missouri for 2 weeks in June as well, back to Columbia. When I went to Missouri in May, it was for graduation in St. Charles, in Southside St. Louis. And so that was really special for me. But going there to Columbia that time, it was so weird because it was really the first, no, it was the first time I flew on a plane by myself and back twice. That trip was crazy. Not crazy, but like it was a lot, you know. Yeah, yeah. Sorry. I just So in 2021, back to that trip, it was the first time I had gone back in 2 years. And I started to really like Gilbert. I started to have friends. I started to belong in Gilbert a little bit. I mean, I still like even now I still have like a special place for Columbia, the whole state of Missouri. It has a deep place in my heart. I love Missouri, even if it has shitty politicians. I just love that state. It will always be my home, no matter where I live or where I go to school. We'll get into that. And it was such a great trip. I mean, I was a little homesick. I mean, to go back to Gilbert a little bit. I mean, I was just a little nervous, not homesick, but just like, whoa. And it was so weird because that was the first time that like Columbia, it didn't necessarily feel like my home. It felt like my past home. Other times when I went back to Columbia, it felt like I jumped right back. I felt like I'm really back home, and I've returned from a long vacation. And I remember telling my sister, we were saying it's like the plan for my sister was always to go back to Mizzou. I mean, she was a journalism. She always knew she wanted to be journalism, and Mizzou has a really great program, and Columbia was her home. And so when we first moved there, it was like 3-year vacation because she was a freshman, halfway through her freshman year, and indeed, it was a 3-year vacation. She went back. I mean, it was kind of hell for her and me. It was really bad. Ooh. But between when I was moved here in 2016 to pretty much the pandemic, I really did not enjoy my time here. I was hurting. I was suffering. It was hard. I mean, as much as I was excited to move, excited to start a new life, I missed my friends. I missed my house, my family, my way of life. It changed, and the kids here were brutal to me, and I didn't fit in even as much as I tried, and I didn't try as well. I had some nice people, but I never felt welcomed here. Even when I moved into this house, I missed Colombia so fucking much. And every time I go back, it felt like I healed a little bit, like I was back, I desperately miss that place. But during my freshman year, and granted, there were good moments. It wasn't like all terrible. It was hell for 4 years. No, there were good moments, good memories. But overall, it was a tough time in my life. And I was figuring out who I was. All these people were telling me I'm gay, but I'm like, I don't even know what gay people are, really. And then, being the weirdo from Missouri, it was hard. But my freshman year, October, November, December, was really the first time that I didn't think about Colombia that much. I'm sorry. And I started to fit in and belong. It was something special, because of marching band, and I had friends and people who cared about me, who were 3 years, 2 years, a year older, people my age that cared about me and made me feel like I was welcomed. And my freshman year, I was very feminine because it was the first time I felt I could really express myself. Now, I'm feminine now. I'm flamboyant, but not as much as I was back then, just because of I felt like I could. I was annoying. I thought it was so mature back then too. Looking back, and then now, not now. We'll talk about me now later. Ooh, I got problems. But that trip was great. I got to hang out with Kyle like a lot. I got to bond with my sister, and I got to visit my childhood home. And I really needed that, and spend time with my grandparents and see my tio Julio in his new house, and then my grandmother in her apartment. Oh yeah, she lives in Mexico now. Ooh, like the country. Which is cray now. It's cray, cray. That's my new thing. Just cray, 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 cray. And that trip was great. And then came back to Arizona. Had this like real fun 4th of July with Isabella and her shitty sister. The whole family shitty, but whatever. Oh, I don't want to say that. That's too mean. I was just wronged by her, so I can't blame her whole family and people. I should forgive her. Anyways, long story, yeah. Ugh. July, I hung out with her, and then I, flashback to band camp. And band camp was, oh my God, band camp 2021 was so fun. And I really got to bond with my section, and not only my section, but I got to meet so many new people that I absolutely or get to know more as well. And all the goals I had for sophomore year, I pretty much fulfilled. Sophomore year was so, oh, I'm hoping that I can have a sophomore esque type year for my senior year. But like, holy shit, sophomore year was the best. It was so good. I mean, there were tough moments in sophomore year, but overall, and I didn't think it was gonna be that way. I remember like the first day of school, it was like shitty. I'm like, oh my god, I hate all these people in my class. My teachers seem boring as hell. This is gonna be a terrible year. And I'm like, oh my god, I can't do this. And I'm glad I was wrong. But yeah, band camp was fun, and then August, first day of school. Let's look on the news, see if there was anything in June. Oh yeah, there's this movie. I think it was like Luca or something. It was with like the mermaid aquatic people. It definitely gave like gay vibes, and that was the vibe for the summer. 2021 vibe. Ugh, summer 2021. The vibe was just. If I was a little older, oh, girl, I would have ate that summer up. TikTok was so good then too. Oh yeah, that the dude that killed uh, what's his name? George Floyd was sentenced to 22 years in prison, so it was pretty good. A bitch got what they deserved. Oh, the Summer Olympics happened between in July and August. Yeah. Uh, so, so that gave me another memory of first week of school. During at the last day of band camp, we're looking at cars because at the time used car prices were so high for like a year. Oh, I mean they're still pretty high, but it's sizzled down a little bit. Yeah, he bought me a car. My dad. Oh, here's when we got her. The day we got her. I love this thing. It's a little. It has its quirks, but it's a really nice car. And I love driving it. Yes, I'm driving. I know it's crazy for a year. 1 year of me getting my license on June 2nd. I wanted to get out on May 18th. I got my permit. I got it on November 18th because you could do like online. But I didn't know like if you take the online test, that's doesn't when you're 6 months count because in Arizona you have to have your permit for 6 months. At least if you're under 18, to qualify to get the driving test. And so many hours and all that. But I didn't know those 6 months started until you went into the DMV, and because of I had relatives visiting, my grandparents came in, and what else? Oh yeah, marching band. It was chaotic in school and all that, and Thanksgiving, and so I had to wait. What was it like? I had to wait 8 days or something like that. No, it was like yeah, it was 8 days. But But then my parents made me wait a little bit. Because there wasn't any spots as well. So, like, yeah. But yeah, June 2nd. So I pretty much got it. I mean, it was like 2 weeks after I turned 16. And so pretty much the entire summer. But we'll leave off there. I'm getting a little tired. But bitch is here. And I'm gonna make this a lot more regular, so I don't have to make like 30 million parts about my life and looking back at shit and all that and reminiscing and all that. We'll be doing it live in the moment. Throughout my senior year. I think that'll be special. Throughout the summer, I meant to get a job, but bitches won't call me back. And then also, I'm not that invested, and it's way too late now. And because of the new fucking schedule, fuck Gilbert schools, we start school in like July 24th or some shit. And I have band camp for like a week and a half. So, like, yeah. Anyways, I love myself. I'm kind of the person I want to be. A little bit. From, 2019 Jack. Peace out. This bitch is here. I hope the Chiefs win Super Bowl 58. Peace out. And be Jack in the house. Yeah, what the? Okay, bye. Oh, God.